Okay, so in the last session we completed PO tab, transaction accounting builder, how we can define the account rules, how everything we can group, and finally we can how we can map the same with our ledger level, whatever the sub-ledger accounting method we have for purchasing. Done. Now we'll see the approvals. So in this stage, we'll go with a very basic approval rule definition. Once we get into that purchasing application, we'll be testing the different rules. Okay, we'll be testing the different rules, employee supervisory approvals, and we have a different options within that we'll be testing. For now, we'll go with a very simple rule definition so that we can understand the action of submitting for approvals, how it would get routed. Okay, we'll see those points. First, we'll go and set up requisition approvals. Go to our implementation project. Here is the task, manage requisition approvals. Fine. So here, when you talk about approvals, we have a concept called as BPM, Business Process Management. This is a place where we can configure the approvals. We can find out the workflows which we use for approval processes. When we talk about financials applications, take accounts payables or general ledger application. If you want to set up approvals for those applications, it's a mandatory we have to go to BPM. From BPM only we can configure the approval rules. But when it comes to purchasing, even we have BPM option to go and configure, they given the additional user interface which allows us to do the setups from purchasing itself. Okay, but what are the setups we do related to approvals? Here setups means rules. What are the approval rules we define from purchasing application itself? All the rules will sync, will get updated within the BPM. Okay, so when you talk about financial applications, finance or other application related approval rules, you have to create from the BPM only. When you talk about purchasing, you no need to go to BPM. So what are the rules you can create from BPM? Those you will be able to create from purchasing application also. Oracle is providing the additional user interface to complete the setups from purchasing itself. Even I'll take you through BPM also. For now, since we are going to create very simple basic rule to start with this, we'll create from purchasing interface only. Okay, we'll see that. So task is manage requisition approvals. Click on go to
Business process management, Lakshman, business process management equal to in EBS. Can you
AME.
name is
AME.
okay.
Management engine.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Done. Okay. Here So we'll discuss more detail level about these approvals, and we'll be testing also in one go. We are not going to discuss everything. First we'll go with the basic rule. Once we start with the process, I'll explain what are the different options we have, how we can send the notifications to only one person or group of the people. In case of group of the people, how that, I mean, if all the people are going to approve, then only system has to consider, or else it has to go in the sequence. How these things should work, which options we have to choose, we'll discuss one by one. But now we are going to create the simple rule. Accordingly, we'll talk on that. Okay. Another point is here, notice, okay, from here you can define the approval rules. And if you look at these stages, there are primarily three stages. Okay, pre-approval stage, header stage, post-approval stage. What is the meaning of these stages? So very simple. Pre-approval stage, header stage, post-approval stage. These are the three stages we could see when we are going to define the approvals for requisition or purchase order. But it talks about only requisition related approvals, this current page. So what is the meaning of it? So you have one requisition. Now how you want to route this requisition for approvals? So our requirement is directly we want to, if some user is going to create the requisition, directly the user want to submit the requisition for the actual approval. Or else you may have a requirement. Before you send it to the actual approver, you want to send this requisition for someone else who can just verify and who can approve before it goes to the actual approver. Or else you may have a case, first we will send to the actual approver who can approve it. Once it is approved, again you want to route this requisition for someone else who can approve finally, but the person may not be the actual approver who can approve as a primary action. If you have these scenarios, all the scenarios can be handled with these three options. Pre-approval means before you send to the actual approval, if you want to send the same requisition for someone, you can go with the pre-approval option. And header level approval is nothing but, okay, header stage. So all these are the stages: pre-approval stage, header stage, and the post-approval stages. Okay, these are the three stages. So header stage means directly will send that requisition for approval who has to approve it. So before you approve a requisition, if you want to send to someone, you can use pre-approval. After approving that requisition, again you want to send that requisition to someone else, you can use the post-approval. So however you are managing that approval process within the organization, so you can set these different levels of approvals. It's not mandatory how to set up all this. You can just simply you can go and set pre-approval. The pre-approval only you may treat as actual approvals, or else you may ignore pre-approvals and the header level approval stages. Directly you can configure post approval stage of approvals, or else you can set directly at header level. The three cases, system will, based on the rule which we are going to define, system will route these notifications to the targeted approver. That's how it works. System won't look at which you are configuring. If you are going to configure, for example, these both, then it will follow the sequence. First it will goes to, based on this pre-approval rule, then it will goes to header level. Or else if you are going to configure only this, you have a practice in your company, you will send for actual approval, somebody will approve, then again that you want to route to someone else to finally approve it. If you build these two stages, then accordingly system will follow the sequence. First it will route to this header level approval. Once that is done, then only it goes to post approval. Instead of setting these two or three, if you are going to set anyone system won't bother about what level, what stage of approvals you are setting. Simply it will route for approval. Once it is approved, the document would be approved. That's how you could see. So that is the meaning of these three stages. Any questions on this, please?
Lakshman, in pre-approval status, when you talk about in Fusion, is equal to pre-approved status in R12?
No, no, no.
It is different.
Not status, stage.
Mhm.
Okay. This is a stage. Okay. Before you get actual approvals, do you want to submit it to someone else who may have less priority, less authority?
Mhm.
Okay. That's what. Fine.
Can I use it for any financial controller, no, for verification of all this thing,
Voice
and you can check it for budget?
it's echoing and it's some sort of no disturbance I'm getting. Please check your mic and you may raise your question.
Ashwan, these are applicable to I-procurement as well as purchasing requisition, right? Both?
Yeah, purchasing documents. Yes, this is for requisition. This is for requisition for again documents purchased. I mean purchase orders. It could be standard or agreements. For that again we have a separate uh, kind of workflows. These all are connected with the different workflows. Going forward, I'll show you in the once you get into the BPM, you can see each stage which
But these are related to requisition approval, right?
the only requisition approvals, only requisition approvals.
So requisition which are initiated either from I-procurement or directly.
Yes, yes, you're right. Yeah, it could be any source. Yeah, these are the approvals. These are the requisition approvals.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, fine. Okay, just don't expect to get to know now everything. Before we complete purchasing, you'll come to know each and everything, how it works, what options we have, and everything. Just in this stage, just I'm trying to give some introduction, and we are going to define the basic rule. Any question to understand? Just please.
Lakman,
Yeah.
Devakant here. Actually, what time classes started? I joined because I didn't get the link in time from.
Okay. Fine. So these are the different stages. At what are the in which stages you want to set up the approvals? If you are going to set any one of the stage, it doesn't make any difference. If you are setting minimum 2 levels, it follows the sequence. First, as per the first the sequence of stage, it will execute that approvals. Then it will goes for the system will route that notifications to the right people based on the next stage. Okay, this is what we have to understand. And other points here, routing, how that notifications should be routed. We have a different options. Okay, we have a different options, whether the notification is forever information notification or parallel. Okay, parallel means parallelly the notification will be sent to multiple people. Okay, multiple people. And again here you could see the parallel for these two. Again within the parallel voting regime, here what we have, first responder wins. That means if the first person is going to, you are parallelly you are going to send, if you want to send the notifications for multiple people at a time, you can go with this parallel option that is available in the 3 different stages. Parallel, again within the parallel you are sending the note, you want to send the notification to multiple people, and if first person is going to, if any one person is going to approve, there has to, the document should get approved. In that case you can go with this voting resume option called as first responder wins. Once the first person you send the, you configure the approvals by grouping 10 people, and you are submitting the requisition for approvals. Say 10 people received notification for approval. If any one is going to approve, that would get approved. or else you want to implement case where once 10 people are going to approve, then only the document should get approved. In that case, you can go with the consensus. Or else your requirement is once you send the you want to build some sequence. Okay, you want to build some sequence, some kind of hierarchy where once you send the notification, first it has to go to so and so person, and then once the person will approve, it has to go to the next step, later further steps, then finally once everybody who is in that hierarchy is approved, then only the document need to be approved, then we have to go with the serial. So these are the different routings are available. For your information, means no approval is required. Whenever you perform the respective action, just system will send the notification message saying that what action user is doing, as user is creating the requisition purchase order. And if you want to really need approvals from someone, you can go with a parallel where you can send the notification to multiple people at a time. Whether all people has to approve, then only document need to be approved, or else the first person, if any person is going to approve, one person out of the group team of the people, if that should be approved, then you can go with this option. And serial, you can just, that has to be serialized where it has to go to someone, they have to approve, again it has to go to next level, have whatever the sequence of list we are going to create, accordingly that would get routed. The same options are applicable and available for these 3 stages. Okay, 3 stages, that's how it works. Fine. So now what we'll do is, for our testing here, one more point is, out of all these workflows, for each stage what are the different routings we have, again within the different routings, different voting regime options. Here we have within this header part, header stage, we have 3 different routings. For your information, parallel and serial. Within parallel, again with the 2 different options, we have voting option, okay, consensus and first responder wins. The same is applicable for other options also. Okay, so this is how we have. Now here for each, here as per BPM, this header header pre-approval stage requested for your information, the routing option, this record as per BPM we call as one node, NODE, node. So these all are different nodes. Okay, different nodes. Let's say like these are different workflows. Okay, these workflows will have a different nodes. These all are different workflows as per BPM. So whatever you see as different records, these all are different workflows. Okay, there are different workflows which are which are inbuilt workflows. But when you go to this BPM, you could see the each and everything as a some node. When we navigate to that, when we are working from that side also, just for testing and to understand, but not required, we no need to go and do any configuration, since Oracle give an option to do from here only. So we can do from here. Okay, so so the point is, these are the different workflows which are represented as a nodes within the BPM application. Okay, fine. So if you look at these nodes, okay, if you look at these nodes or workflows, out of all, only 2 are enabled. Okay, 2 are enabled. Here one is header stage serial, other one is header stage parallel, within the parallel consensus. These are the 2 nodes are enabled. What I'm going to do is, we can go ahead and we can create our own rules, but before we go and create, I want to disable these nodes. Okay, why I'm going to disable this is just Vision instance. Maybe people might have created different rules or some common rules which may impact the rules which we are going to create. We are not sure which rules who created and all. Since this is a Vision instance, I want to make sure that no rule is enabled or no node is enabled other than our node. That is the reason I want to disable whatever the nodes or workflows are enabled for requisition. So I'm selecting this node. I'll say just click on disable. This will get disabled. Fine. And I'm selecting again this node. I want to disable it. Done. Now we can enable any one of the node which we want to go with, and you can define the rules within that. Okay, fine. So what we'll do is any stage you can choose. Okay, it works in similar manner. If you are going to create different stages, then it will go in the sequence. So what I want to do is I want to go with this node. Okay, post approvals. I'll parallel. Okay, I can send notification to multiple people, or if you want to send to only one, you can send it. And again, consensus, if I'm going to send to multiple people, then with this option it will work, where it will wait till all the people will approve the notification, approval request. Okay,
Now we are going to disable these all.
No, just two were enabled. We disabled already just now, right?
Yeah, these remaining all also enabled, right?
Where can you see as enabled?
Here it is showing
nothing. I clearly shown here under enable there was green color representation as enabled. It was like this, right?
Okay.
This is the meaning of enabling. Okay, it's already enabled. What I did, I disabled, right? I
got it.
Record.
Thank you.
I disabled. Done. Now here no node is enabled. Now by using which node we want to define the approval rule, that node we want to enable. Okay, let's enable this node. Okay, so I'm enabling this node. If not this node, you may enable this node. If not this, you may enable. All are consensus parallel. Okay, any stage level you can implement, doesn't matter. Okay, it's not mandatory. You have to follow the sequence, and however they're given, you may opt or you may ignore. Okay, let's go with this node. I'm selecting this node. First we have to enable. If you want to define the rule, you have to enable it. Select this node, click on enable. So now we can see this node is enabled. Now we can go and define the rule. Click on edit rules. If any rules are created already within this node, you can see those. Okay, within this node, if any rules are already created, you can see those. Sorry, there was some internet connectivity issue. Okay, got fixed. Fine. Done. So we enable this node. Now we'll go on to define the rule. To define the rule, just click on edit rules. Okay, so this node we enabled. How to enable? First you have to select, then you have to click on enable, so that system will enable that node. By using this node, we are going to create the rule. We'll be creating a number of different rules. For now we'll go and create the simple rule. So just click on edit rules. Click on edit rules. Here we can notice no rule is defined within this node. Okay, no node is defined, no rule is defined within this node. Now we are going to create the first rule. Click on create. So what we'll do is, this initial stage of this purchasing, we'll go with auto approvals. That means if requisition is going to be created within our business unit, that has to approve irrespective of amount and irrespective of person. Let's create such kind of a rule, and going forward we'll be creating with the different conditions by giving the amount. If invoice requisition amount is so and so, who can approve, who cannot approve, all the conditions will be building. Okay, now here I'll say ERP3 auto approval. Okay, just give the rule name as a auto approvals. Just say okay. So given rule name as auto approval, and scroll little down. Here we have condition specification. Okay, we have to specify the condition. Click on add condition. So in which case the requisition should get approved automatically. If business unit is ERP3 US business unit, then system has to approve automatically. Okay, here type approval task attribute. Okay, so here you can go with the option called as attribute. On what base? It's like if condition. If requisition business unit is RBU, okay, search for requisitioning business unit. If requisition business unit is requisition business unit equals to value called ERP3 US business unit. Okay, so if requisition business unit is equal to ERP3 US business unit, what system has to do? Just say okay. What action system has to perform? It has to send the requisition notification to someone to approve. How system has to perform the next step, that you can set within the add actions. Okay, let me minimize this a little. Okay, here you could see add actions. Click on add action. What action system has to perform? So approval required. If approval required, who has to approve and all, you can specify that. Anyway, we'll see. For now we are going to set as approvals are not required, that has to be approved automatically. So action type you can select as automatic. What system has to do automatic? Automatically it has to reject or it has to approve. Okay, the outcome you can set here. So system has to approve automatically. Here the condition is, if business unit, if you are going to create the requisition against BU called as ERP3 US business unit, then only system will approve automatically. That's all. If business unit is going to be different, it won't approve. You have to create the rule for the different business unit. Fine. So this is the point we have to understand. Say okay.
So in this case, no need to approve anybody, right?
You should submit. The user has to submit for approval. Then system will trigger the process. It will verify and validate the conditions, and it will approve automatically. Okay, action need to be initiated. The user has to submit requisition. Right. Then it will look into the conditions. Accordingly, it will respond. Okay. Again, we are defining this rule only for our business unit.
Okay. What all attributes we have for here? Like one of the attributes we have shown is the business unit.
Many attributes we have. Many attributes we have. We will see all those. Will be just I'll take you through that. But what are the different possible ways we can set up the approvals? Okay, all will be testing employee supervisor approvals and grouping the people and sending the notification, or else targeting some person to send the notifications to approve. All will go through. Okay, so instead of just discussing all the points in one go.
Lexman, is this approval for internal requisitions or only regular purchase requisitions?
Purchase requisition. Again, here we have attributes to specify which type of document and all. Even for purchase orders also, standard purchase order, blanket, contract, and there are many attributes we have. There you can go and specify, or else based on the preparer. Okay, many attributes they given here. I just selected here attribute as a requisition BU. I'll just click on edit. Okay, here we have a many attributes. We have a many attributes. Click on search. See here, there are the different attributes which will help you to define the rule. Okay, even DFF, based on DFF values also you can set. Okay, all the attributes based on the item and ledger, line amount, etc., etc. They are the different attributes where system will allow you to set the approval rules by picking any one of this attribute. Based on unit of measurement, you may set the rule. If unit of measurement is each, this is how approvals should work. Okay, and your project related tasks also. And supplier site, if supplier site is so and so, okay, of course you can include supplier information, the requisition. In that case, if you want to route something based on the supplier or supplier site or sub inventory, if you are going to specify sub inventory in case of requisition creation or source organization, there are many attributes.
Lakshman, any multiple combinations these attributes
you can do that. You can go with and, or you can go with or. I'll take you through. That's what I said. In one go, we are not going to say everything. Just this is a simple rule we are creating so that we'll get introduced. Okay, how to define the rule. Then we'll look into all those possible options. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fine.
Lakshman, I mean, I see what you're saying. It is a bit depending on the attribute that you select, that we can set the approval. However, when you select the attribute as a business unit, so does it kind of default to know it's apply for both purchase requisition as well as the internal requisitions?
No, yes, now it is applicable for irrespective of document. It could be any requisition, it is applicable. Okay, it is for both now, any requisition, because I didn't specify the document type as purchase requisition or internal requisition. Even if you set the same rule for purchase approvals, this is for requisition. For purchase order, if you set the same rule, this rule would be applicable for any type of document. Standard purchase order and agreements also same rule would be applicable. Or else you can set separate rules by selecting the attribute as a document type is equal to standard purchase order. This is the rule is applicable. If document type is equal to so and so agreement, this rule is applicable. That's how you can specify. Now it is a common for any type of requisition. Okay, fine. I selected attribute only. If BU is equal to ERP3 US business unit, then the requisition need to be approved. Which requisition I'm not telling to the system. That means any type of requisition you have, it will go with this rule only. Okay, so this is the point. Yeah, please.
So Lakshman, in this we can add multiple rules also, not the operator one. Like I got it and or we can use.
Here
but let's say
create a number of. Here you can create a number of. You can add conditions. You can put some operator as and, or etc, etc. Okay, you can define here many. Now that's what I said, the simple rule: if it is equal to this BU, system has to approve automatically. Okay, we'll be defining. I'll take you through those options also, how to add here. You can go with any other condition. So you may specify the condition: if requisition BU is equal to this and preparer is equal to so and so, then only that has to be auto approved. You can set if that criteria is meeting, then only that would get approved. Otherwise system won't route for, I mean it cannot route for any further process. That's how you can define. Okay, we'll see that. We'll test, we'll look into those points also, but let's try to understand how to create the simple rule, since we just started with this approval part. Okay, fine. Say save and close. We're done with this. So we enable this node and we created rule. So this approval will work till this node is enabled. You created node, you enable node, and you created rule within that. We can create n number of rules within the one node. Okay, so I'll again take you through the same node. So we created only one rule. If you want to create one more rule, yes, you can do it. You can create within that rule. You may have a different conditions. Okay, done. So we enabled the node and we created rule. Now if you are going to create the requisition, meantime if somebody will disable this node, the approvals rules what you created, those will get disabled automatically. Okay, so make sure that in which node you are creating rules, those are active all the time, enabled. Done. Now after completing this, we have to submit these changes. Means we did some changes within the requisition approvals. Within that workflow, requisition approvals workflow, across these nodes we did some changes. You may modify existing rule, or you may create new rule, whatever it may be the case. You have to deploy the workflow. Okay, so if you don't deploy, it won't get updated. Similar to our chart of accounts, we created chart of account instance and everything we created. After that, what we did, we deployed. So we have to make sure that the chart of accounts, the accounting flex field is deployed. Then only you can start using the chart of accounts for further definition or transaction process. Same is applicable here also. You have to submit this, okay, workflow for deployment. Click on deploy. Done. Fine. So edit rule in BPM. Okay, so in the BPM, how you can see that, I see that same, you can it will navigate you.
What is the role that you need to add to get this BPM area?
See from where we are navigating. Now from where we are navigating here to that approval page.
From this ERP tree.
No,
User?
no. From FSM, right? We are in FSM now. Hope you are aware of it, right? So ERP
Yeah.
is a project where we have that project in FSM.
Okay.
So that means if you have access to FSM, you can navigate to see any setups you can navigate from FSM environment. For that, what role we require? Application implementation consultant. That's all. Fine.
Fine. Thank you.
Fine. Okay, just click on go to task icon. Ideally, if you just click on that icon, what they shown, it has to route us to that BPM environment. It's going to take us okay, or else I'll show you in the other way to route. Once you click on this edit rule in BPM, it has to take us to the relevant area. You selected use business management approval rule. You want to continue? Yes. Say yes. Let's wait to see. No, it is not responding. No issues. Basically, in the previous versions, they didn't provide this tab also here to navigate from here itself. Okay, and in this environment, just that's showing after patch applications. No issues. Anyway, we enabled node and we created rule. If you want to go to BPM, we can go with the different tasks also. Even you can use manage approval group from here also. You can navigate. But anyway, we'll look into those points also. You don't have to worry about it. That. So we created approvals for requisition. The same way we have to create the simple approval rule for purchase document also. Here we have a task called as manage purchasing document approvals. Okay, manage purchasing document approvals. Click on go to task icon. Okay, the same you could see here, stages. Already there is one node enabled. Only the difference is here we have a pre-approval and post-approval. In case of requisition, they given header stage, but here instead of giving the name as a header stage, they are given as a terms. That's all. Okay, but this you consider as a header. These are also three: pre-approved, actual approvals, means, and here finally post-approvals. The routing and this voting options all are same. So in this vision environment, somebody is already enabled one node. Okay, this is a purchasing related, workflow related node representation. Here one node is already enabled. Let's disable it. Okay, it's not mandatory how to disable, but those may impact our rules directly or indirectly, since we are not very sure how they created rule. Okay, they might have created rule saying without selecting any business unit. In that case, it is applicable for everything. That is the reason, instead of looking into all those points, just simply disable. Anyway, this is a test environment. You can just play with this. Fine. Now we can go and enable one node. Let's enable similar node. So for requisition also, the similar node we enable post approvals and parallel consensus. So first we'll enable this node, enable it, and click on, after enabling, select the same node, click on edit rules. So here also no rules are defined. We'll go and create the rule. So ERP3 auto approvals. If you have multiple rules, okay, just you may specify the priority. A system has to consider which node with a high priority or medium or low. You can specify that. Let it be medium, or you can keep as high, because we don't have a number of rules for system consideration, which has to be system which has to take with high priority for initiative. Say okay. Now here also you have to create the condition. Okay, in the condition section, click on add condition. So attribute here for procurement business unit. Okay, so So if you are going to create requisition, from which BU you create, that we are creating requisition business unit. If you are going to create any purchasing related documents, that BU we are calling as procurement BU. So now we are going to create the rule. If procurement BU is equals to ERP3 US business unit, then what system has to perform the action? Okay. So here we have a add actions. Click on add action. So what action it has to perform? It has to automate the approvals. So what should be the outcome? When our system identifies ERP3 US business unit for any procurement document, automatically it has to approve or reject. That you can split, it has to approve automatically. That's it. Okay. We'll be defining the different rules going forward, but for now, let's try to understand this basic one. Then we created, say, save and close, and this workflow also we have to submit for deployment. Okay, just click on deploy. Done. Click on done. Okay, we created very basic rules. Okay, so we'll proceed. Okay, don't think we're done with this. We'll be testing and different rules to understand, to explore more on these approvals. We'll do that. The next task is we have to assign purchasing roles to user. Okay, so to work on purchasing application, or along with the purchasing application, other procurement modules. So what are the basic roles we have to assign? We'll see that. So how to assign the roles? We have to go to security console. From security console only we can assign the roles. After assigning the roles, the role related data access we have to provide. So when you talk about purchasing stands at BU level as per enterprise structure. So we have to associate BUs to the relevant roles. We'll see that. First we'll go and assign the roles. Let's talk about which roles we have to assign. So when you talk about purchasing, so purchasing basic roles. So we have a role called as preparer role for purchasing, that we call as procurement preparer. Sorry. And other role, say, this as a requester, procurement requester. And we have other seeded role called as procurement manager. And when we are working on purchasing application, we have to assign the role called as a buyer role also. Even we created employee as a procurement agent. Procurement agent definition level, we know we just set up all the grants if require other agent related documents. But so this buyer role you have to assign to the user so that it will enable the task in the navigator to perform the procurement related documents preparation. Okay, once you assign the buyer role, it will display procurement related task in the navigator. Even you
Lakshman, I have a question. I mean, I know you it seems that each of the purchasing role, when we're doing the inventory roles, I know you're saying these are the roles that you need to be assigned to it. But someone who doesn't know which roles to be assigned, is there a way of list or something that we can look at?
We'll see. That's what how to do the role customization and all. I'll take you through. I'll take you through what are the how many roles we have for our purchasing or procurement. Okay, our SCM, and we'll open each and every role and we'll verify. And again, we have option of comparing the two roles. For example, you are not very sure what what privileges this procurement preparer has and the procurement requester has, and you want to get to know how to verify which privileges each role has. or else how to compare preparer with requester privileges, or how to compare procurement preparer with the procurement manager. We'll just look into that. Again, I'll take you through the process of how to copy the existing role, how to modify as per a requirement, how to create the role from the scratch. That could be duty role or job role. We'll go through all those. Basically, we planned it within the inventory itself. We didn't do. At least we'll do it as a part of purchasing. But same logic is applicable. Just we have to understand from where and how. Any role you can pick and you can play with that, with all these options.
No, Lakshman, which is great, but like say right now, how many seeded roles for purchasing are there? So is there a way that we can look it up without doing any customizations, or what are the roles, the seeded role we have for like inventory? What are the seeded role we have for order management? Is there a list of?
Yes, a list. Yes, list is there. That's what I'm saying. When we are going to do the customization, role customization, I'll show you that information. But now I am directly giving the role which ideally we use, which has all the privileges. Okay, fine. Okay, here we have one more role called as, if you are working on more into procurement related process, you can associate role called as advanced procurement requester also, or else you can ignore it. Okay, so when you're going to work on purchasing, you just assign these as a basic roles, and once we go through the process of verifying role related privileges and all, you will come to know, so that you can take the decision based on which process you are going to test or you want to provision to the user. Accordingly, you can assign and you can modify, or else you can create the custom role. Okay, done. Fine. And now we'll go to the security console. Find our user. Okay, click on the login name. Click on edit. Now we can assign the roles to this user. So procurement preparer. Procurement preparer. Okay, so this is the role. Select and assign. And procurement requester. Select and assign. And procurement manager. Select and assign. Advanced procurement requester. Assign role called as buyer. So it seems to somebody modified this seeded one. Within this environment, someone is modified. Okay, so there will be one role called as buyer, and somebody edited with the name. Maybe they just the suffix they added. Okay, even that you can set up automatically, also system will add it. Fine, no issues. Treat this as a buyer. There is no GSC. It is just suffix which you can add. Okay, not sure which is a seeded one which somebody is modified, so I'm assigning those two buyer roles. So save and close. Now for these roles, you have to assign the business unit. For buyer role, you don't need to assign. Buyer role, you don't need to assign anything. Okay, this is just role where system will display this task within the navigator for that purpose. So for these roles, we have to assign the business unit. Just click on that. To assign the business unit to these roles, what we have to do? We have to go to the task called as data access for users, right? So we're done with this. Now we have to provide the data access for users. You can do it from the project or directly from search page. Okay, go to search. The task is data access for users, or else just search for data access for. Here you could see many tasks. So if you want to assign the inventory organization for user related roles, you can use this task. If you want to assign the business unit to specific user related roles, you can use this task. And you can use other tasks, the data access set for users or cost organization, budget organization. So many tasks we have. Okay, so instead of going with a different task, you can use this as a common task. It allows you to assign any definition to user related roles. Okay, you don't need to go with you don't need to search for what you want to assign to user related roles. Based on that, you don't need to search for the tasks. You can always use this as a very common task, data access for users. From here you can assign any data to user related roles. Click on create. Username is ERP3. Select role. Advanced procurement requester. Security contest is business unit. BU name is ERP3. Just type the name and tab out, it will fetch, and click on duplicate, and it will create one more duplicate record. There we can overwrite the values. So username is same, and role you can select as procurement manager, business unit. Click on duplicate. So we're done with the procurement manager. Now you can select procurement preparer. And select procurement requester. Say save and close. Click on done. Done. Now we have to submit the LDAP job. Go to scheduled process. You can tag this page into favorites. Okay, here we have favorites. You can click so that this navigation will be tagged as a favorites. Add to favorites. I'll give the name as SRS. So as per EBS SRS, right? ESS job page here. Okay, enterprise scheduler service. If you want to maintain the any page information as a favorites, you may create the folders. You can take those into relevant folders. They're not required. Done. From next time onwards, you don't need to click on navigator. You don't need to go to tools. Under that, you don't need to select this schedule process. Simply from favorites, you can select. You can click. It will navigate. Fine. Now we have to submit the LDAP job for the role related data synchronization with the user. Simply say role synchronization with the roles what data access we provided. That could be inventory organization or business unit or ledger with a specific user system will update. Search for LDAP. So select job called as retrieve latest LDAP changes. Say OK and submit. Fine, we know it takes some time. We'll just sign out and sign in to verify the role related privileges whether system is added or still it is pending for synchronization. We'll check it once. So under procurement, okay, you can say purchase orders. Okay. So by default it shows like purchase requisitions. Okay, those are like even if you don't assign any roles also it shows purchase requisition. That is nothing but ideally the requisitions which employee can raise for anything they need. For example, they need laptop or some stationery or something else. For that purpose also ideally that requisition will be the requisition task system will display, but in reality here this requisition is now based on the purchasing roles and purchase agreement related tasks. Everything system is added. So we are done with the purchasing basic configuration. Okay, in tomorrow's session we can start with the the basic transaction. Then we'll discuss the concepts what we have in purchasing to understand and to execute, and we'll go one by one. So any questions from today class, please? So approval related will be covering different scenarios, but just to start with this, we created simple rule, that's all. Any questions from anyone, please? When seems to no questions, then we'll connect tomorrow same time and we'll start with the purchasing transaction process. Thank you all. Have a good day and good night.